Hello guys, I have been showing off with some small scaled and fun to make projects. Creating these often doesn't require extensive planning and you can start with the editor right from the get-go. But when it comes to complex projects, you should befriend that pen and paper for a long time before you can start coding. So I decided to start a new tutorial series for a complex project, and I noticed there's a lack of strategy game tutorials. So I hope to complete a turn-based strategy game and share the experience in the upcoming videos. But here, I'll be talking about how I prepared for this. At first, I have to decide the scope. Our project will be reinterpretation of an old game published in 1999, known as Imperialism 2. This game takes place during the Age of Discovery, where the players take over one of the European major powers and exercise their imperialistic ambitions to colonize New World. I chose this game because it will be considered novel even now, and its several intertwined system is a good example of a complex game. So I decided the project by scribbling what I remembered about the game, what aspects I enjoyed the most, and the dilemmas that the player had to consider. The major dilemma was how to allocate the laborers. Then there was the option to colonize a new world through mercantilism or militarism. This list was long, but I remember that there were quite unique points about the game. Then I added what else I wanted to see in the list. For starters, I made a list of resources and units, including new ones, and I even doodled some sprites for them. Then decided to add some cultural variety to the major powers, but possibly the most novel feature will be about the units. Now the map will be traveled as party instead of single units. In that aspect, it will be more like Heroes of Might and Magic. We will choose which units our agents will form a party, and our choices will affect what the party will be able to perform. Every composition will enable a different experience, adding to the game's replayability. Once this was done, I started with doodling a graphical interface, in particular the map and the panels in the game. On the map, I decided to stick with hexagonal cells, but chose to make units or agents move tile by tile, like in Civilization series, instead of jumping from one point to another in a single turn. Then started to design the panels with minimum functionality. In other words, each panel was designed responsible for as little as possible. I scribbled what each icon, text, or button was going to be for, and this gave me a good idea about the systems needed for the complete game. The next step was about the player's options. At every moment of the game, the players are in predetermined state. They are either ready to give commands, or watch their commands being realized, or wait for the AI to move. So I made a flowchart of how these states are connected. Based on this, I decided on 4 modes of the game. These will indicate whether a unit is selected or cell is highlighted, whether an action is currently being executed, or whose turn it is. And depending on these, the game will determine which behaviors are going to be allowed. After all these, I felt ready for the hardest step, the entity relationship diagram for the game architecture. Basically, I started with writing down all the classes or structs that are necessary to exist in the game, and which classes they will inherit from. That was followed by filling them with the data that each class should contain. Finally, I connected them to indicate their relationship. During this process, I started from scratch several times, but soon enough, I had a clear image regarding how each class was going to be related. Next, I grouped them to isolate individual systems as much as possible. Based on this diagram, now I felt ready to decide in which order I should start implementing the systems. So, in the next video, we will begin with implementing the hexagonal tile maps and pathfinding algorithm. Now, I hope this piqued your interest, and see you in the next video.